What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Logan Webb, who had 6 Ks in 8 innings, giving up only 1 run. He picked up Ks on pretty much his whole arsenal, his four-seam fastball, his sinker, his slider, and changeup. He battled Chase Anderson, who had 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up no hits and only 1 run. The run came in mostly because he had 5 walks in this game. He relied on his cutter and changeup. Bailey Ober was back and had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 2 runs. He picked up Ks on his fastballs and sliders. He faced Jesse Schultens, who had 5 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 5 earned runs, but he had a couple of nasty curveballs. Aaron Nola only had 1 strikeout in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and had this 2-seamer. He faced Zach Thompson, who had 4 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had this curveball. Wade Miley had 3 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs. He picked up Ks on his dirty 2-seamer and changeup. Miley faced off against Jake Irvin, who had 6 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had this 97-mile-an-hour heater, as well as this wicked curveball. Johan Oviedo had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 1 run. He picked up Ks on his fastball, curveball, and sliders, and faced Garrett Cole, who had 4 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 2 runs. Cole had this fastball and then this slider for a strike him out, throw him out double play. Bryce Elder had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 4 runs. He got his Ks on these fastballs and dirty changeups. That changeup is a real weapon. He faced Johnny Cueto, who had 2 strikeouts in 4 innings, giving up 3 runs, and got a K on this fastball where he was messing with timing. Johnny Cueto still got the moves. David Peterson looked really good yesterday with 10 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 2 earned runs. He picked up his Ks mostly on his combination of sinkers and sliders, and some of those sliders were really wicked. I've definitely seen some positive signs out of Peterson recently. Peterson battled Hunter Green, who had 6 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs. Green, of course, had his upper 90s fastballs, as well as this wicked slider. Zach Greinke only picked up 1 strikeout in 2 innings, and that strikeout was on this slider. And Greinke probably had the most entertaining exchange of the night, where he throws this slider pretty much right down the middle. That somehow is called a ball by James Hoy. You can tell Greinke was kind of hopping mad, and he started walking to the plate and got all the way to James Hoy. I'm sure Hoy at this point was expecting Greinke to say, "Man, you missed that one right down the middle." Or, "Dude, you suck. Get your head out of your ass." But instead, apparently Greinke just told him he was going to pitch out of the windup because there was a runner on third. A veteran way to get your point across about that call without getting your ass tossed. Zach Greinke is a savage.
Say to the umpire after that question call there?
Same thing I do every time. There's a guy on third base. I pitch from the windup, and you have to let him know. So I was mad for like 2 seconds, and then it's just focused on getting the next guy out.
Greinke battled Christian Javier, who had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and had these fastballs and sliders. Seth Lugo picked up 7 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these fastballs, sinkers, and sweeper. Zach Eflin had 8 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up only 1 hit and 1 run, and no walks. He had these fastballs, curveballs, and sliders, as well as these changeups, and here's a home plate view of his changeup. And you can see why you might be a little out in front too. Eflin faced Jack Flaherty, who had 6 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this curveball and cutter. In one of the matchups that I was most looking forward to yesterday, Bobby Miller faced off against George Kirby. Miller had 7 strikeouts in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs. He had this 100-mile-an-hour gas, as well as these changeups and curveballs, and he picked up 11 whiffs on his changeup and curveball combo for a 50% whiff rate for the game. George Kirby was fairly solid with 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. He did give up 4 runs, but had these 2-seamers that had a good bit of movement, as well as his 4-seam fastballs and nasty splitter. Jose Berrios had 8 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up 5 hits and no runs. He dominated with his combination of 2-seamers, 4-seamers, and slurves. And here's an overlay of his 2-seamer and slurve. And you can see how those pitches cross paths just as you're ready to swing. Those combinations are how I know when Berrios is pitching really well. Brayan Bello also pitched really well with 10 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs. He picked up Ks on his combination of changeups, sliders, and sinkers, and I thought his sinker looked especially good. Look how filthy those things are, especially this one that just dove to the dirt. I also think the Blue Jays' camera angle is really good at showing pitch movement, unlike some higher camera angles. Brandon Pfaadt had 6 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, giving up no runs, and had these fastballs and sweepers. And he outdueled Justin Steele, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, but gave up 6 runs. Definitely hurting his Cy Young chances. Steele did pick up Ks on these fastballs and sliders, including this vicious back foot slider, but it really wasn't his best outing. Griffin Canning had 7 strikeouts in 6 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had this fastball and slider. And he faced yesterday's co-filthiest starting pitcher of the day, Tarik Skubal. Tarik Skubal was really impressive, getting 9 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up only 1 run on 3 hits. He had these overpowering fastballs up to 99 miles an hour. That's some gas, and it kept setting up his changeup. He picked up 11 whiffs on his changeup because the hitters had to prepare for 99. And he had a 73% whiff rate for the game on that changeup. Here's an overlay of Skubal's fastball that was fouled off and a changeup in that same tunnel. And you can see why that changeup is so effective. As a hitter, it looks just like that fastball that you fouled off, and instead, you end up being way early on it because it's a changeup. Great stuff from Tarik Skubal. John Gray had 3 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs and had this slider. And he faced yesterday's other co-filthiest starting pitcher of the day, Lucas Giolito. Gio, where have you been all season? If you remember the last outing from Gio, or maybe the outing before that, I said it looked like he was putting some pieces together. Well, he put them all together for this game. Giolito had 12 Ks in 7 scoreless innings, giving up only 2 hits. He just absolutely dominated with his fastballs, sliders, and changeups, just tearing through that Texas lineup. And here's an overlay of Giolito's elevated fastball and his changeup, and you can see why he can be so dominant with that changeup when he's on, even if that changeup isn't in your typical low and away spot. Giolito is a master at tunneling his fastball and changeup, and this brings nightmares to hitters. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Evan Phillips had this wicked sweeper. Jake Diekman had these overpowering heaters and sweeper. Devin Williams had these vicious airbenders. Marcus Stroman was back and had this slider and changeup. Jordan Romano had these heaters. Trevor McGill, Tyler's brother, had this 101-mile-an-hour fastball and wicked knuckle curve that I overlaid. And that combination looks like a strikeout to me. Austin Hedges, the king of weak contact both at the plate and on the bump, picked up 3 quick outs with these pitches. On the other end of the spectrum, Jordan Hicks had this 101-mile-an-hour sinker. A.J. Puck had this fastball and sweeper. Tanner Scott had this 99-mile-an-hour diesel. Chris Murphy picked up Ks with his sliders and curveball. Clay Holmes had this absolutely vicious sinker. Look at the drop on that. And my filthiest reliever of the day was Justin Lawrence, who had this incredible side-rolling sweeper. Yep, he was able to get a strikeout on this sweeper despite rolling his ankle. Look at this freeze frame of his foot. Just absolutely ridiculous. And after the game, Lawrence replied to my tweet, he's going to be okay. And for that extraordinary effort, we give him the filthiest pitch by a reliever from yesterday. And now, my Pitching Ninja moment of zen. I think I figured out a way to cure Angel Hernandez's bad calls. We make him watch all of his bad calls of the year, like Alex had to do in A Clockwork Orange. You know, hold his eyes open.
I've truly done my best morning and afternoon to play it their way and sit like a horror show cooperative mouth.
Okay, that may be a little cruel, but then again, so are some of Angel's calls. And I guess this therapy wouldn't help if Angel actually really is blind, as some people think. What do y'all think about this idea? What is up, everybody? My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Ranger Suarez for 5 Ks or more, then take Chris Sale for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Tyler Glasnow for 7 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?